What's up, guys? I'm Jacob. I'm here today at Tap Rack Ridge with Andrew, Combat Art Training. We just got done with pistol cheat codes, right?
Yep, Pistol Skills 1, Pistol Cheat Codes, the nickname, yep.
So what we want to talk about today is the difference between potentially tactical training versus competition training and why it matters.
Yeah, so the word tactical has kind of gotten thrown around so much, it's lost its meaning.
So good.
It meant something a while back. Now, so like the way I think about like that discussion, that question is, tactical training versus training for competition. It's like I think about, are we training for violence or are we training for a game? So like the violence is like the word I use more now in that realm. It's funny, I had made this mindset meme that said mastering the fundamentals is a great way to avoid learning what's actually important.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like our people, they're like laughing. They're like, yeah, that's hilarious. And then all the right people got mad at that.
Right.
And it's like, so what do you mean by that? And I'm like, well, one thing is I've seen a lot of really great shooters who don't carry their gun.
Yeah.
All right. I've met a lot of people who own a lot of guns and zero training. I've met, a lot of people who, okay, again, great. We'll go back to that fundamentals thing. Great shooters, however, do they have any sort of medical skills?
Right.
Now, tomorrow, we're going to be doing some balls to the walls, force on force, improving grounds pistol, where it's like a fighting pistol type class. But you're the target. Like, it's like every drill is against a person. So it's like, okay, you have these skills. How are they under pressure? Because we're going to see that, like, oh, shit, I didn't think I would do that. And, like, it turns out, like, I lose my skills and I will snatch the trigger and I have a good grip and I'll be moving all crazy because they've never done it under pressure like that. So it's like training for violence versus training for a game.
So one thing that I was thinking about is you were talking about the difference between potentially using the slide after you do your mag change, right, to run your slide home, or using the the magazine release. That's the wrong term. Slide lock lever. Okay, yeah. Got to use the right terms here.
How much of a gun nerd you are.
Right. So all right, and you had said like if you're going to use the slide lock, maybe it's faster for you. It better be actually faster.
Yeah.
And if you're going to run the slide, it's more reliable. Well, it should actually be more reliable.
Yeah, like if you're going to hit the button because it's faster, quote unquote, well, you better be the fastest every fucking time. Otherwise, why are you actually hitting that button? And if you're going to rack it, okay, but I've seen it within our circle, like guys will do a bad job. Right, and it's like, no. If we're doing that, we got to actually, if we're doing it for that purpose, it has to serve that purpose.
So without using a bunch of terms like OODA loop or any kind of jargon or lingo here, if I am in a life or death situation and I have 5 seconds to react and I take 1 second to realize what's going on and make a decision and 3 seconds to draw and fire, that would be infinitely better than the person who takes 5 seconds to react and has a 1/10 of 1 second draw because he's already a 1/10 of a second too late. So your tactical training, we might focus more on good tactics and on reliability, on moving in ways where we can make sure that we don't trip over random obstacles. Whereas if my goal is to win a competition, I don't have obstacles. I have a playing field. I've already looked at the playing field. Nobody's shooting at me. And I want to do whatever it takes to move these little feet from this stage to the next stage as fast as possible. And what I do to achieve that might not be the tactically the right decision. It might not be 100% reliable in a broader range of circumstances. And if I fail, the result of my failure is that I get less points on a point card not that someone dies.
Yes. And, I was talking with someone who was actually around when, like, IPSC and IDPA were first being formed, even, like, before that. And so he, like, grew up with that. And he's like, he hates what it has become today. And I think many of them do that were around back then. One of the things I said, though, was, like, it's come to a point where they are gambling to win. So, like, they will shoot faster than their brain can process. That's a thing you have to do to win competitions. I didn't really talk about it today, but, like, the speed I had everyone shoot at, that's right at, like, the threshold where great shooters can actually process the information of what's happening in the fight compared to, like, their gun. They won't outshoot their brain, basically. But they will gamble things. So they will be more reckless with their gun than they would be in real life. So it's like when people say competition is great training, okay, you can get positive things out of anything if you look for it. You can also get negative things out of anything if you look for it, right? But, like, to think that in any way that competition is realistic, it's like, okay, well, look at the things they're doing. Like, are we going to run like this for safety, like all the weird safety shit that's involved should be completely disregarded. Then when people are shooting faster than they can think, like, is that really the way you want to consistently shoot? Is that the way you want to behave with your gun on a consistent basis? Especially if there's a possibility that you'd have to shoot someone in a public setting.
Right.
And it's like, and again, you got to remember that's a game. What is the consequences behind your failures? Kind of like what you were talking about. So, like, when you shoot a no-shoot target in a competition,
you didn't actually just murder somebody.
Yeah. So, but, like, what does it reduce their score? I don't even know because I don't do it. But I was thinking about how I would want to run a competition, and I was like, well, the first drill would be blindfolded, tourniquet onto your dominant hand, their dominant arm. It has to be placed correctly. It has to be tight enough. It has to be done in under 30 seconds, and you have to be moving the whole time. Right. And if you can't do that, you don't get to participate in the rest of the competition, because it's like, how useful even are you? You can't even save yourself,
So wait, so our priorities, I think an important point to start off here with is what is our priorities when it comes to you want to carry a firearm to take responsibility for your own well-being and that of your family and those who you care for. So we talk about all the time, we harp on mindset, tactics, skills, gear, right? Mm-hmm. So I got a comment that said, with all of this tactical training, I guess you could just show up to your local competition and you would just smoke everybody, right? That is not the case. I would be annihilated. Probably any competition I went to, I'd get smoked.
No, not all of them, because it's like there's also a thing where I've seen a lot of people be like, I shoot a lot of competitions, and it's like they're not good at shooting at all. Right. It's like there are the best shooters in the world are competition shooters, no doubt, But right. It's kind of like saying, oh, I was in the army, so I'm a good shooter. Right. I know all the gun stuff. It's not true.
So with mindset being so important, as a person who's looking to get training to become a better shooter and who is interested in competition shooting, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with, I want to make very clear. With mindset being so important, I would say if you also want to carry your gun every day and be proficient, that it would be prudent or wise of you to start this training path with good tactical, reputable training to get the mindset right, and then move into competition training, because you'd have the right mindset to use the skills that you learn when and where they are applicable, and you would know what not to use. So mindset, tactics, skills. Skills is still below 2 things. If you have the right mindset that leads to the right tactics, those tactics allow you to use your skills. And if you are the best competition shooter in the world with a good tactical mind and a good mindset because of your tactical training, now you can use those skills that you've earned to their fullest potential. But no matter how skilled you are, if the mindset and the tactics are wrong, you don't get to use your skills potentially at all. You lose. So, and when you lose on the tactical side, there are real consequences. So tactical training is not better than competition training if you want to compete, right? But how many competition shooters don't even carry a gun every day?
Right. And if we
and your skills don't matter if you're not carrying a gun.
Yeah.
Look, I could be the #1 shooter in the entire planet, whoever you think that is, Jerry Mikulik or whatever, I don't even know. And what's it going to matter if I can at 6,000 yards if I don't have a gun on me and this dude's like, this gangbanger who's got no skills, no training, no tactics, but he's got the mindset to kill you if you don't give him what he wants. What do you got?
Yeah, recently I had a guy tell me about how he was kicking out his tenant downstairs and his tenant made like a threat to him. He's like, so then I went and got my gun. I'm a pretty good shot. Like, you're not a good shot, I don't have a fucking gun to shoot with, But like on that, so the survival principles, right? Mindset, tactics, skills, then gear. If you really study those, you also see how they all intermingle in certain ways. Like gear we put at the bottom, right? But gear's important. You need to have quality gear. But also your mindset can push you into like, okay, I'm on an airplane. I don't have my pistol. What else do I have? What do I have access to at least?
You're already thinking of alternatives because the mindset's right and you're working on the tactics that you could need to best use the resources that you have at hand, even if you don't have the gear.
Yeah, and your gear also can drive your tactics. Like you have night vision, you can do stuff at night. And your skills can become tactics. Like think about this. Like how many times?
Can I?
One more.
You got me in here though, because the shotgun mics we don't hear you.
Flip the thing over so we can see.
You just have him.
No, I see it. So
yeah.
I was just because I'm just pacing.
Yeah.
I'm tracking with everything you guys are saying, but I was gonna say maybe define tactics better for them because you guys have been dancing around it. And what I would submit is tactics are what you do to give yourself most importantly, the bad guy less opportunities to shoot you, and what you do to give yourself more chances to shoot the bad guy.
Yeah,
right?
and that's important.
In essence, tactics are how good can you cheat?
Yeah.
So tactical is how you use tactics to gain an advantage, no matter. But in a martial sense.
Yeah. So
correct.
So like back to like the thing I was just saying, I was like, there's this phrase, I use cover, and it's usually used as like a cope for a dumb fucking technique on something, like a one-hand reload. Like the way we do it is, this hand's not working. This is the hand I have to do everything with. So drop that mag in the holster, and you're moving. New mag in, take it out, tap rack off your belt, and then continue fighting. And I had someone explain to me how he's like, we teach them to put them between their legs. Like, not saying never do that. Okay, there's certainly a time and place for most things, but I was like, but you can't move. He's like, we teach our guys to use cover though. I was like, my fucking mind's blown. We're supposed to put stuff between us and the bullets.
Reload and cover? Move?
Or use cover. Yeah, but it's like even that phrase, I use cover. There's a skill within that. Okay, so cover as a tactic, you have to be skilled in using cover. And like one of the things we're gonna see tomorrow too is like sometimes cover's like the wrong thing. Okay, and that sounds crazy, but check it out. A lot of times when I see in force on force, dude goes to cover, he loses the bad guy because he's going to a safe zone, because that's what he's always thought of it as.
And then he sits there and then he's prey and he's got nowhere to go.
Yeah, and literally the other guy has changed his position, and so now when he does go out, he's going into a totally unknown, and he has to regain pressure.
Where the guy who's looking at him knows where he is. He's only going to come out from 2 different points.
Yeah.
So the bad guy knows where you are. He can be anywhere. He's ready for you, and you've got to pop out and find him.
Yeah.
Right.
Your whole life has gotten harder.
What I would submit is your guys are talking about movement and maneuver, right? So most people, if you were to ask them, say, hey, what's the difference between movement and maneuver? They might not be able to articulate it. So movement would be you running to cover, or just really moving from anywhere on the globe to another place. Maneuvering is what we use to describe your movement as it pertains to the opposing force or the bad guy.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, to your point, if you run behind cover and you decrease your situational awareness because you lost track of the bad guy, you moved, but your maneuvering fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
So, all right, so tactics. Indiana Jones. I'm in Indiana Jones, all right, and Nate here pulls out a saber and starts doing backflips and all of these cool tricks with this big sword, okay? Now, a really bad tactic for me, being not a saber-wielding psychopath, a really bad tactic would be for me to get my own sword and go meet Nate. But I am Indiana Jones. I don't use bad tactics. So I pull out my gun and I shoot Nate. That was a good tactic because I took away his advantage and I'm still alive and he's not. So that might be a simple way to understand it. If you want something, maybe imagine a chess game, imagine generals moving pieces on a board, and then apply that to any kind of martial situation that you could be in. And for the average person, that probably means that a bad guy has bad intentions. He already has the drop on you because you are reactive, because you're a good guy going about your everyday life. And you are going into a situation already at a disadvantage because the bad guy already knows what he wants to do and he wants to do it to you and you have no idea.
Well, and so
that's the bad guy's tactics to have an advantage over you.
Yeah, and that's the simplified version. Like when we think of the word tactics, like that word's gotten thrown around so much it's lost its meaning, and it's gotten
everything is tactical.
It's gotten it's like the word.
If it's black and scary,
well, yeah, but
not black of skin.
But here's the thing: is like
word black of tool.
The word tactics and tactical have been so diluted. It's kind of like the word professional now. Professional to me just means they get money for a thing. It doesn't mean they're even fucking good at it. You know.
I'm a subject matter expert.
Yeah,
SME.
same thing. So yeah. In terms of tactics, I don't want to keep going on the rabbit hole on what it is, but it's just doing things that give you an advantage and him and your opponent a disadvantage.
So we're talking about tactical skills. We are talking about skills that you learn in a mindset that you learn for a martial and violent application as opposed to the skills that you might learn for a competition that you want to win.
So like back on that phrase, the mindset meme of mastering the fundamentals is a great way to avoid learning what's actually important. Okay, if you're just no-lifing shooting skills, like, hey, shooting skills are important. Like, I do believe in mastering the fundamentals. I just think you shouldn't only be doing that. And I wouldn't even say that mastering is the way to go, because what does mastering really mean? It probably means like you spend 20 years doing that all fucking day.
Just the fundamentals.
Right. So then, like, when we talk about like what things do you need, like I recently took a whole bunch of brand new people, gave them a use of force and a mindset lecture. When I talked about follow-on training they should get, I'm like, take a good pistol class, take a force on force class, take a medical class, take a low light class, take a radio class. Not one many people think about, but Jesus Christ, like, what the fuck are most people gonna do without a damn cell phone? Bushcraft, right? That could be important. Being able to handle a fire. There's a lot of different things outside of pressing the trigger. Now, pressing the trigger is very important. And when you think about what's happening in a gunfight, there's certain opportunities that you are either gifted or earning to press the trigger on the bad guy, and you have to make it count in that moment. However, that's not like the only thing. And again, the best shooter in the world with no flashlight outside over there right now could get absolutely fucking smoked. Or even if he does have a flashlight, but this is his first time using it under pressure, that would be a huge problem. And that word pressure too, that's where I consider the skills of shooting to actually be a tactic. You are applying pressure to them. Like, pressure could be I simply have my gun pointed at him and that's scary to him. It could be that I'm shooting and I fucking missed, but if that's scary to him, or I'm hitting him, it's changing his behavior. Or the highest level of pressure would be putting one in his brain, right? So like that's important, but that still is a fucking tactic. But the thing is, it's now been said that skills beat tactics, and it's like, okay, cool. Are you gonna tell that to every cop who got shot in the back of the head while sitting in his squad car? No, I'm pretty sure that guy was more skilled as a shooter, right? What about, like, you ever seen an IED go off?
Yeah.
Okay. What, like, was it the skills of making an IED?
Right.
Not really, no.
Well, let me ask you this. For the people that,
yeah.
And again, I love picking up skills and new skills, getting faster and more accurate. But this imaginary gunfight that they're going to competition shooting to train for, let me ask you this. Do you think your competitor is doing this? Do you think the bad guy you're going to face with in your imaginary gunfight is going to those same
square
competitions?
Up to you.
Shoot? No, do you think he's going to a competition to hone his skill to kill you? No. He might be on your skill level or less, which would lead me to believe it is his mindset and his tactics that is going to make him win the day.
Yeah.
While you're down here, because you're.
Well, the bad guy always has the advantage too, so he's going to
probably
get that opportunity. So once again, like we talked about the 21-foot rule in our previous video earlier, but like if someone wants to kill you with a knife, they're not going to pull a knife out at 21 feet like the Tooler drill that we talked about. Pull the knife out at 21 feet and say, "Excuse me, sir. I am going to kill you with this knife. I am within 21 feet of you, so you cannot draw your gun before I kill you with this knife." Because if someone wants to do this, they can have this little tiny knife up behind their hand. They don't have to announce anything, and they can be like, "Hey, what's up, buddy?" Or they can be behind you or whatever else, and then they can start putting it into you.
Yep.
Right? And at that point, you are reacting because you didn't even know it was coming. Okay?
Yep.
But, all right, so just the difference, though, between the type of training that you do or the type of training that you might get at Tactical Response or other places, and the difference in the skills that you learn when you're training for competitions. The importance here is that the desired outcome is different, and what you are practicing for is different. And in a competition, you are in a controlled environment and you don't really have any decisions to make.
Yeah, and hear me out. Like, I train with performance shooters. I think they have a lot of great information. There's some stuff I completely disagree with, but when I'm there, I'm a fucking awesome student. And that's why I'm there. I'm actually taking a class from a master USPSA shooter later this year. You know, I'm excited for it. There's gonna be something there that he's gonna make me better at, you know.
And by the way, in the people that are like, why don't you take competition training? You just think you're gonna go into a competition, be better than everybody else. I don't. And I would love.
You're not concerned about going to a competition.
Well, I'm not, but I would love to go to a competition knowing that I would lose, because the losing would make me a better person. I would grow, and I would love to do a competitive class, but for me it is a lower priority because this is my responsibility. This is me taking responsibility for myself, for my own well-being. This is self-ownership, and this is taking responsibility for my family. Whereas competition for me, I will never pay my bills in a shooting competition. Never. So if I compete, it's for fun, And right now, what I do for fun is more limited than what I do because of my responsibilities.
Yeah. And the other thing I think about too is like Sonny's got a conflict management class, So like the scenarios you do, it's scenario-based training, but it's just like basically talking through a scenario. Now you think about like how do people normally react to other people on a day-to-day basis, and even like there's things that we're taught like just going like no thank you, like stuff like that is a good like default that you can just use on random people. I've done it, but also like how do you react when the person's like you just hit my car, or if someone you're walking through Walmart and someone grabs your wife's ass and he's with 7 of his buddies, like what are you gonna do? Are you going to just walk away? How's your wife gonna feel about that? Because you're gonna lose your own self-respect with that too. But is this a problem we should be using our gun?
Wife, children.
Yeah, but also it's gonna fuck with your relationship. So he showed us some fucking amazing stuff in that class about that I'm like, damn, like this is hugely important. Because we think about like avoid, deter, de-escalate. Mm-hmm. How good are we at really de-escalating? And if you don't do like a communications-based job, like, for me, I have to interact with all my students. So, and I've had to manage conflicts there because, sometimes people get emotional over stuff. It's not ever something I'm trying to make happen or intend to do, and it's not even at me every time, but like sometimes, just humans are emotional creatures. So
it's just the heat, by the way. It is getting hot in here, warmer. The heater's right here. It's not like I'm so invested in this that I'm starting to sweat. It's literally, it was freezing cold in here when we got in here. They can attest to that. And now it's not.
But like, even a fast food worker that is at the counter dealing with customers, right? They're probably better at conflict management than the majority of people. Like that class we used to teach to a lot of business people, right? And dealing with other companies to deal with customers and stuff. And also think about like, okay, let's say you are such a good shooter because you did all the competition stuff. Cool. All right. And you win the gunfight or the attempted stabbing at the gas station or whatever. Okay. What are the next steps? What are you doing now? Right after you shoot that guy, what does your 911 call sound like? Have you ever called 911? Have you ever practiced that? And what do you do when the police show up? Like, what is your real plan? You might, like, if you talk through it in, like, our environment, find out that, oh, shit, my plan is completely insane.
Yeah. So what I like about this, do you know what my first tactical response class was?
Fighting rifle?
No. So this guy reached out to me randomly on Facebook, and he said, hey, Tactical Response is doing a discount if you bring a friend. You want to come with me? I'll drive you. And I had been out of the military for a little while, I don't know, 2 years maybe, and I thought, I don't really actually want to get any tactical training. That sounds like work, but I think that I need it. So yeah, I'll go. He told me the price. I just happened to have the cash. Well, it was active shooter. It was actually a class that was very light comparatively on skills and very heavy on mindset, and was actually very heavy on that phone call in an active shooter situation. And it ended up being a big deal for me. And James and I talked quite a bit and immediately hit it off, and he took me in like right away, which was wild. And it was life-changing. It was right there in a class that was not even heavily shooting skills based. And I showed up to that class and Way of the Pistol, if you guys remember from my videos, with a government-sized 1911 that I carried every day. And
a clip holster, right?
And it's,
In a clip holster, right?
And a leather clip holster.
Nice.
A leather clip holster. And so the amount of change that I've gone through in my life from getting outside of my comfort zone, but seeing this as my responsibilities, has been huge. And I don't know, hopefully at this point, maybe you might have a better understanding of why I personally put this time into tactical training and why it is different than competition training, and one is not better than the other. And what I'm going to say about that, if I'm in Germany and I'm not going to carry a gun anyways, but I want to go do a competition, I'm not going to come to America to get tactical training in one of these classes to go back to Germany to win a competition. I'm going to go get some competition training because that training is going to be better for what I want to do. Mm-hmm. They are different, yes. And the goals are different. And I think that that's really important. I would never demean a competition shooter and say that what he has done is stupid or that he's not talented. I would never say that he couldn't outshoot me because I'm quite certain that chances are he probably can. However, we are working towards proficiency in different areas.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. I think that's the whole deal.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's so just like, check out Combat Art Training, Taprack Ridge.
Yep, yeah, Taprack Ridge is a great
this place is amazing.
Facility.
That'll be in the description box below, and what else?
For like classes, you need a pistol class. I think take like a tactical type or a one that's violence based. Like for me, it's carry pistol 1 or tactical response. Would be a fighting pistol. You take a medical class, take a force on force class, do one that's scenario based, and then also take my proving grounds pistol, which you'll do tomorrow. We'll probably do a video talking about that. And then there's other stuff too, like the conflict management. There is low light radio stuff. There's a whole bunch of stuff besides simply using a gun. And also like Joey at Tactical Response and I did a podcast on that subject of taking training outside of just using a gun. But just think about with this whole discussion, competition training's fine. Shooting in competition's fine. It's just don't think that all applies to violence, because it doesn't.
So, if you're interested in training, first off, if you could only train one time in your entire life, I would say find something like the trifecta, tactical response, mm-hmm. fighting pistol, immediate action, medical in the fight. Mm-hmm. It will change your life, and I'm promising you right now, if you like guns, it will save you money. Because instead of chasing fads and the newest, coolest trigger and doodad and doohickey and gay bob thing, instead of doing that for the rest of your life, thinking it's going to make you have a better chance in this tactical situation, in this responsibility for your own well-being that you're taking, instead of doing that your whole life, chances are it will change your life. If you take the class, it will change your mindset, and it will help you understand what's actually important. So,
what's actually important, right? Like that fucking mindset, me mindset.
Yeah, there you go. So, again, thank you for watching. Check out the description box below for links to Combat Art Training, to his classes, to his gear, which I personally love and wear every day, as you probably know, in every single video on this channel. Taprack Ridge, we're right here in Kentucky, Corbin, Kentucky. I love this area. I always have. This is a special place, and we've got a lot of different trainers coming out here. Check that out. And then below that will be how you can support me and my channel. It is still it's February. So if you missed out on one of my new pre-order hoodies, you're probably gay. No, but seriously, if you order one before I can take it off of the website, I will still honor that. So get those pre-orders in if that's what you want.
Yeah, and watch out for that probably gay hoodie coming out soon.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to you in the description. I'll talk to you in the comment section below. I hope you all have a blessed day.